The Amazing Digital Circus, Gaslight District, The Knights of Guinevere, and now Lackadaisy, all projects with a distinct tone and visual language, and yet are all under the production house of Glitch Productions. They're slowly but surely becoming the golden standard of how indie animation studios should run to foster creative evolution. Yet despite this, why has Spindlehorse remained completely the same? Is it simply a matter of if it's not broken, don't fix it? Or is there more behind the scenes? When the Homestuck pilot dropped, it should have been a celebration, the return of one of the most ambitious webcomics of all time, now reimagined with professional animation. This was something fans of the original webcomic had dreamed about for years, but instead it became a point of division, not just for what it was on screen, but for who was behind it. Specifically the boogeyman of my channel, the involvement of Vivian Madrano, better known as Vivziepop, creator of Hazbin Hotel and Helluvaboss. And while I know I sound like a broken record talking about her, this mostly comes from the fact that I actually enjoy her shows. I just really want them to make changes. So until those changes are made, I'm gonna keep making these videos. Don't forget to drop a like and leave a comment below. I'm curious, what do you guys think? Do you agree that if Vivziepop actually encouraged her team to shake up the formula a bit, fans might be a lot less frustrated with their shows? Now with that out of the way, let's be clear and upfront. Vivziepop's influence on the pilot is speculative at best. She's credited as the executive producer, not the director or writer, and no official statement from her or Andrew Hussie has been confirmed that she dictated the show's creative direction. But when something feels like a Vivziepop production, the exaggerated character acting, the snappy yet uneven pacing, the overbearing dialogue and constant swearing,
Fuck off! Swearing doesn't make you cool.
fans can't help but make a connection. And I'll admit, I'm on that boat. It's like how Michael Bay, being the producer of the TMNT films, greatly impacted the overall vibe and visuals of those movies. Like, you're telling me that Michael Bay wasn't at this director's back with a gun telling him he absolutely needed a shot like this, with Toy Chica's actress Megan Fox? And as an admittedly pretty big Christopher Nolan fan, how he and David Goyer's gritty realism of the Batman affected the Man of Steel films, even grandfathering in Goyer into the scripts as the scriptwriter. Even though they were taken on by different directors, the style, the vibe, and writing were all given the okay by the main producer. The same could be said of Homestuck, as this is where speculation turns into interpretation, because while there's no proof that Vivziepop herself told anyone to make John Egbert and Dave swear every 5 seconds, it's kind of hard to ignore the tonal fingerprints. When comparing the original script and Homestuck's pilot, you can see it's full of unnecessary profanity, a choice that fans immediately noticed. In the original comic, John was an awkward and nerdy dude. His humor came from wordplay and irony, not from dropping F-bombs every other line. While he did swear, it wasn't the emphasis of his character. Yet the pilot ramps it up to a near comedic level, but not in an intentional way, as it's not just that the characters swear, it's that they swear every other word, as I mentioned. If anything, Vivziepop as the producer greenlit all of Hussie's worst creative decisions and allowed him to boost the swear count. She could have just as easily said, maybe we should back off on all the swearing. Maybe jackasses out there like MrBooone are going to be complaining about that, as they always do. Because God forbid she'd try and differentiate Homestuck from her other shows, knowing damn well that many people hate her over-reliance over swears for comedic effect. And I can't stress this enough, profanity isn't inherently bad. Smiling Friends uses it to punctuate awkward realism.
Oh, you guys see Pimp's new head on Facebook? Oh.
BoJack Horseman uses it sparingly to emphasize emotional beats.
I'm gonna squeeze your hand and get real close and say, "Fuck you, Mom."
What?
Yeah, I can finally tell her off. I'm gonna say, "Look at you, you old piece of shit rotting in a nursing home."
But in Homestuck, the animated pilot, it feels like filler, a way to force energy where none exists. That's exactly the kind of tonal issue people associate with Vivziepop's work and style. In all of her projects, it's entirely style over restraint, volume over nuance. And again, we don't know if Vivziepop herself actually asked for more swears, as it's very likely specifically Andrew Hussie, but you can't deny the fact that she almost certainly had influence over everything that was given the okay in the pilot. The pilot episode's director, Sky Henwood, even states in an interview that Vivziepop was in fact incredibly involved in the creation of the pilot. To what amount, of course, we can't say for sure. I'm not about to state that she secretly ghost-directed it like everyone claims Spielberg did for the Poltergeist, but I am saying she actively avoided trying to make the show any different from her other shows. There's just a very clear pattern that's emerged from the people who've worked under Vivziepop, a pattern of favoritism and an inability of killing your darlings. Multiple past employees have allegedly described how Vivziepop would openly mock other projects and even encourage her staff to join in. One pretty big allegation being somebody stating, "I remember one time Viv got us all on a Discord group call and streamed a crossover episode of Villainous and another Cartoon Network show. She encouraged everyone to make fun of it and tear apart every flaw." That kind of environment says a lot. It's not just about growth or learning from others, it's about reaffirming dominance. When the tone from the top is, "we're better than them," you end up fostering a culture where dissent isn't welcome. You start surrounding yourself with yes men, people who echo your opinion instead of ever challenging them. And sadly, that's exactly what seems to have happened with Spindlehorse. Nothing fundamental ever changes between Vivziepop's shows. Whether it's Hazbin Hotel, Helluvaboss, or even her earlier student work, the formula has remained untouched. The same visual style, the same pacing, and the same hyperactivity that has been there from the very beginning. It's not evolution, it's mere repetition. And again, while Vivzie didn't personally write the Homestuck pilot, Sky Henwood, the director for Homestuck the animated pilot, was in fact handpicked by Vivziepop as one of her close favorites. Someone who not only worked on the animation for Helluvaboss, but also wrote for her. She wasn't some found talent off the street or the internet, she was somebody who worked very closely with her, and no doubt was incredibly influenced by everything she did and told her to do. She even went as far as to say in an interview, the viewers of Hazbin Hotel would enjoy Homestuck, as there's very little work done to differentiate the projects, even altering the iconic imagery of the original comic in favor of a strange gangly style that's, well, not exactly what you'd say as similar to Hazbin Hotel or Helluvaboss, definitely has a kind of not so pleasant look when compared to the original comic, and falls much more in line with the kind of things they draw normally. Contrast that with Glitch Productions, a studio that actively changes its creative DNA with every new project. Metarunner evolved into Sunset Paradise, which then evolved into Murder Drones, and then that evolved into the Amazing Digital Circus, which absolutely blew up, and then spun on into the Gaslight District, and now Lackadaisy. While Spindlehorse is trapped in a cycle of repeating the same problems fans have been pointing out for years, and that's largely because of Vivziepop's creative influence, real change never happens, and the same storytelling flaws and tonal issues keep resurfacing. Meanwhile, studios like Glitch Productions, as I've shown, have made it clear that they can evolve. Gooseworks has actively sought feedback to improve their writing, and the Gaslight District creator even mentioned plans to slow down the pacing of future episodes.
We've been listening to your whispers from the void and taking our time to make this the best show possible. Future episodes will slow down to really let that dread sink in.
That's the kind of self-awareness and willingness to adapt to criticism that is exactly what Spindlehorse is missing. Because each and every show feels, looks, and moves entirely differently from one or the other. Lackadaisy in particular is a project so uniquely stylized and distinct that you could never possibly pin it down to any one creator, like as if Gooseworks had worked on it. It's proof that animation studios can in fact adapt, experiment, and bring in new voices without losing identity. Vivzie, on the other hand, seems to resist that kind of change. She's built an empire around her singular aesthetic and style, one that she keeps tightly guarded. That control might ensure consistency, but it also suffocates experimentation. Every show feels like a variation on the last, every idea filtered through the same sensibilities, the same tone, the same rhythm. It should be of almost no surprise then that she allegedly described working with the Owl House creator Dana Terrace as hell, because, well, go figure. When someone who insists on absolute creative control girl meets another artist with just as strong of a vision, if not a little bit more strong, it's bound to end up in a clash. At the end of the day, I want it to be known, this is a plea, it's not a hit piece, like all of my videos. To Vivziepop and her team, please, I beg of you, try something new. You've proven you can make flashy, fast-paced, over-the-top animation, but at this point, the world already knows what a Vivziepop show looks like. Now it's time to prove what else you can be capable of. Even if Vivzie isn't writing or directing, she can still tell her new teams, don't make this look like any of my previous work. Make it yours. Or maybe, as a challenge, write the show with no swearing. Or like Smiling Friends, a minimum of a couple swears and maybe even bleep them for comedic effect. That's ultimately what producers are supposed to do. It's the reason you get Absolute Cinema, which was the Transformers 1 film, and Bumblebee. Both films were produced by Michael Bay, and yet both took incredibly talented directors and allowed them to tell actual new stories with new styles. It's also the same reason shows like American Dad appeal to people who hate Family Guy and its use of cutaway gags. The show was run by people that aren't trying to replicate Seth MacFarlane's gimmicky nostalgia-laced sense of humor. I just want Vivzie to loosen her grip up a little bit and to try and see if she can produce something entirely new. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week.